Okay, it's time for some mechanics. Today, I'm working on a 1998 Kenworth, and this beast is a T2000. It was supposed to be Kenworth's answer to the new millennium and trying to get trucks more aerodynamic for wind effect and to increase their fuel mileage. So today what I've got to do to this beast, and I'll take you up here, we'll take a quick look in the cab. This is a T2000. This is a good friend of mine's. I don't do a lot of work on trucks anymore. It's what I did as a profession. But I do occasionally do some small jobs. This is a small job. I'm going to be changing a fuel line today. That's what they call the smart wheel. So got his Jake brakes, cruise control, everything around that. So anyhow, let me walk us down here. What we've got to do, if you look down there, there's some fuel leaking, and it's back in there in that corner. There's a crossover line or fuel line. They have two tanks on these, so they run they have a dual draw, dual return line is what they call it, and it's so that it pulls the fuel out of each tank evenly. And there's a bunch of fuel lines there, and he's obviously got one leaking. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pulling this whole skirt off, and then I'll probably be pulling this cover here off as well, and then so I can get my big ass underneath there on my creeper, and then we got to get underneath there and assess what's leaking. And I'll get back to you then, and we'll see what we got going on. Take a look at these things with these arrow skirts off here, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys here in a minute, a little more. And this here is my big, my toy toolbox. And this is where I have all my tools. And when I used to do this for a living, where I got injured. Anyhow, it's full of tools, and this is what I've got. And so I still do jobs once in a while on cars and whatnot. But I was a truck guy, so this is a truck, and I'm going to change the fuel lines. So I'll get back to you. This is my car. Roll it around. It's all good.
Like the old pop.
Anyhow, gentlemen, I popped the hood. Just give you a quick gander. This is a C15 550, and we're talking Caterpillar horsepower, gentlemen. It doesn't come much torquier than that. We'll walk around over here, and then I'll get back to my fuel line. My kid wanted to see the engine, so I get some video of it. There it is. 550 Cat. These are great engines right here. Great engines. And there you go, gentlemen. Let's walk over here. Of course, we've got to get on that T2000 Kenworth. And we'll come back over here, and I'll take you over here. Now this is the driver's side, and way back in there, I don't know if you can see it, but that's where the fuel lines to this tank are. They all go up and they join in the middle, and we're going to take a look at that. Okay, and this is what it looks like once you get all that crap off. And now you have access to get into the sides. And it's just a few bolts. You can see it over here. You have one there, and then you have one way back here. steps off. Go here. And this fender here slides right out. So that's it. I'm going to get underneath there now. Find out what's leaking.
Fucking self is back. How's it feel?
Good, man.
Does it?
Yeah, except I'm old. These two fuel lines here, they run in here. And they cross over.
How you doing, Pop?
I'm good, son. Just hang on. Let me finish this video. And they cross over. And they meet underneath this tank. Now, I'm going to go underneath and show you what's going on underneath here. Let me... Okay, now this is what I had to do to make a hole in here. Besides getting this inner fender off here, I went ahead and I took this, there was a little bracket here, and then I had to get inside here. So let's take a quick look. I'm going to pause and then fire up when I get... Okay, we're underneath the truck now. There's the drive shaft going forward. There was this cross member, if you can see it over here, that was bolted up right here. I don't know if you can see it. It was bolted here to this. And it went right across here, and you couldn't even get in here. So now we're going to go in here. And we're going to go up and show you. These are our fuel lines that are leaking. And if you see, they run to one side. And they run over there to the other side. And they go up in here, and it's just that valve right there is what they call a dual draw, dual return valve. And what that does is it makes sure that the tanks return fuel evenly and that they supply and they draw fuel evenly. So that valve will give you problems if a driver comes in and he tells you, my right tank's going empty before the left, then you usually know this is your problem. That valve's taking a dump. But there's 4 fuel lines here, 2 supply and 2 returns. A supply and a supply, and behind them, you can't see them, is a return and a return. Now this particular truck has these steel lines right here. These are actually Kenworth lines. And they'll run all the way up to the front of the truck. So what we're going to do is, I talked to my friend Bob, we're going to change all the lines that are back here. Because this truck, like we said, it's a 98. So they're all probably in the exact same condition. So we're going to change them all so we'll have no more problems up here. And when I get them out, I'll give you some shots of them. But anyhow, this is what we're dealing with, guys. And it's return and supply lines to the tanks coming off of the dual draw, dual return valve. All right, I'll be back in a minute, guys. There's the monster. Okay, I was hoping we wouldn't have to do it, but it looks like we're going to have to pull that other fender off to get those other 2 lines off the top of the tank. If you look in there, you can see where they go to the tank. This is the valve I told you about, the dual draw, dual return valve. It's made by Bendix, I think. So you got a return goes here, and then it siphons so it does it all evenly. See right here. In this would go back to the engine, and in and out. And these are our fuel lines that we're replacing. This is the one side. Right here. And there's a 1 supply, 1 return. My son is over. Yeah, and they have issues with it.
What?
They have had issues with it.
The fender?
There's the lines and the valve. Okay, so we're going to run to Peterbilt. And you guys building a semi might be handy. Got the Kenworth suspension. Kid's a Mustang. We built that from a bucket of bolts too. 5.0. Okay, we had, obviously we took all the skirts off this side. And we're going to go from here. We're off to Peterbilt. I'll take some shots when we're there. Alright, gentlemen, we're here. We're at Peterbilt. We're going to buy some lines for the Kenworth. Okay, so here we go. Alright, kids, well, I didn't get them at Peterbilt. I ended up going to the Parker Hose and Fittings store. And I got the new lines. They wanted about $130 more at Peterbilt. And I had these, and these are made up hoses, so I didn't even have to make them myself. So anyhow, tomorrow I'll put them on. That's it for now. We got to get the cart and the tools out here, and gonna move the Mustang. But we're gonna pick our shit up for the day. Roll the cart back in the garage, and we'll be done. So that's where we're at, fellas. We'll check back in tomorrow. Bye. Oh boy, we're shut down for the evening, fellas. Gonna call it a night, go get some dinner, and we'll be back at it tomorrow.